Okay, tonight, y'all asked me to start bringing some school owners on here that are very successful. The first person that came to my mind was Larry Roberts Jr. Now, a lot of y'all don't know Larry, but a lot of y'all do. This is probably, I'm not going to say probably, he is one of the most famous barbers, most successful ones now. He's done a lot. He's probably done everything that any beauty professional has dreamed of. He's opened schools. He's graduated over 300 and something inmates. He has schools in the prison. Now, he don't even get paid for that. He uses his own money for that, his nonprofit. So think about that. This man has a school in the prison and is funding it out of his own pocket, has graduated over 300 men and women. Now, not only does he have his own clothing line, product line, shoe line, wrote books, he got front row seats at the Chicago Bulls game. So if Michael Jordan was playing, he'd be right beside Michael Jordan at the game. A lot of y'all have probably seen him with a lot of the athletes. He plays the drums. He's very talented. I mean, anything that you can think of, he has, shops in Walmart. I've never seen anybody do that. He's the first person that I've seen do that out of anybody. He got a school bus, a van. He has he travels the world, eats nice food. His closet looks like a department store, has hundreds of shoes, hundreds of suits there. He's very modest. A lot of that stuff he's not going to share with you all. Y'all might see him driving his old school. The Corvette got wrecked. You may see him in a Rolls Royce. Now, he's a beauty professional that lives a lifestyle. Y'all see a lot of these celebrities and rappers and athletes. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time, but Larry probably wasn't going to tell y'all all of this. His tuition is right at $20,000 per student. So the government pays him that. He opened his school back in probably 2004. That's almost 20 years ago. So that tells you he's a veteran. He has skin in the game. This was before the Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of this stuff. He had already made his money, had already succeeded. He gives back all the time. So what we want to do, Larry, can you start us from the childhood? And then we're going to segue up to now because they need to see rich, successful, beauty professional school owners. So tell us about the childhood.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for allowing me to come on your show, Millionaire Barber. I really appreciate it. I don't take any of it for granted. So thank you again for that. I want to, first and foremost, give you honor for that. And also, childhood. So I basically, born and raised in church. Grandmother was a pastor. My dad played the organ for a lot of famous gospel legends back in the day. So that's where I get my music attributes from. I play drums and keyboard and organ professionally. I'm a songwriter. And my dad had restaurants when I was younger. So the entrepreneurial aspect for me came from, musically watching my dad be a leader, always be on time, do what he's supposed to do, but also running my dad's restaurants as a teenager. But what happened that made me start cutting hair is my parents built a house out in the suburb of Matteson, Illinois, and there weren't many people that looked like me out there. So I wouldn't let just anybody, I was very stylish, young coming up, and I was like, man, I got to cut my own hair. Now, a lot of people don't know that barbering is an art and it's a science. It's taught that in the book. And I draw real well. I have great penmanship. I color really good. So I just kind of put the two and two together, really not knowing that barbering was an art. And I went and bought me my first pair of clippers at Walgreens for $19.99. And I started cutting my own hair. And the way I built clients is I would tell people I was charging $3. And I told people, I said, hey, if you let me cut your hair, you have to pay me $3. I said, but if I mess up, I'll pay you $3 back. And thank God I never had to pay anybody. And that's how my journey in barbering started.
Now, what were you doing all through high school, Larry?
Cutting hair. I literally had 2 chairs in my basement. I was so inundated. I had the whole south suburb sold up. I had another guy, my boy Mike from Yesterday's Jazz. He was in my basement with me. We was cutting hair, 2 chairs down there. I mean, I cut people who are celebrities to this day, you know, in my basement. Whether it's in the music industry, whether it's ball players, you know, I literally cut their hair in my basement. But I was simultaneously, you know, I was at church 3, 4, 5 days a week when I was that age. I was, you know, running my dad's restaurants, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, depending on whether it was summertime or whether it was, you know, during a school year. I would cut hair until 1 o'clock in the morning, and get up and do it all over again, you know. And I told my parents, I said, this is what I want to do. So when I was 17 years old, my parents let me go to barber school. I was a senior in high school. They let me go to barber school, and I literally went at 17. And when I was 19, I opened up my first barbershop on my own from the money I saved up from cutting hair. I eventually went up to $5 a haircut, but then when I started kind of cutting in the shops or whatever, before time, I started charging 10 or whatever, and then I was able to save my money and open me up a barbershop at 19.
Okay, so
So
now,
I've been in business now for 31 years. I've been in business for myself, and I'm 50.
all right, now, and then in 2004, you opened Larry's Barber College.
I opened up a barber college in 2004. So, what prompted me to open up a barber college is because I really feel like, like a lot of people say that barbering, the hair care industry, is a hustle. I don't look at it as being a hustle. You know, you kind of gave me a whole lot of accolade at the beginning, and you know, when people see me driving my Rolls Royce, or if they see me, you know, first thing they ask me, "Excuse me, if you don't mind me asking, you know, like, what do you do, and who are you?" And I say, "Hey, I cut hair." They're like, "Man, stop playing." I say, "I cut hair. What else do you want me to tell you? I cut hair, right?" So that's where it derived from. So my lifestyle and my life and everything that I've done has come from cutting hair. But you have to be a good steward in this industry, right? A lot of these new barbers, unfortunately, you know, they want it quick. They want to get rich quick. And it doesn't happen like that. You know, you're looking at somebody who, you know, people, they say they want to be like me. And you know, I stopped saying humble, because humble is pretty much bring yourself down. But for lack of a better word, it's like, you know, I try and be as modest. Let's use that. I try and be as modest and as I possibly can. But you know, people want to be like me, but you have to do the things that I've done, right? So you're looking at somebody who, I would be in a barbershop at 4 o'clock in the morning cutting hair, man, until 1 o'clock the next morning, not sitting down, not one time, not using the bathroom for the first time until 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, cutting 25 to 38 heads every day. Cutting 48 heads was the most heads I ever cut in one day. And I used to do that on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of people now, and that's when haircuts was $10, $15, $20, right? So now, you know, you can get 40, $50 easy for a haircut. I have clients that sit in my chair, man, for a lining. They pay me $70. And I don't even cut hair full time like that no more. I cut when I can, but I'm getting $100 for a haircut, 125 for a cut, 50, $75 for a lining, you know, and I don't ask them to pay me that. They just feel obligated because they know that I really don't have to cut like that. So I opened up the barber school in 2004 because I went to a barber school where all I did was cut hair every day, all day. And I already knew how to cut hair really well before I went to barber school, but I still went and sucked it all. I took everything in I could take in. I never feel like, even to this day, I don't feel like I know it all, right? I'm still going to be a student. When I get behind that chair, you know, reps is everything. And I'm steady trying to be better and better and better. And I do consider myself, you know, one of the greatest barbers in the world. I really do. You know, I mean, I understand hair. You know, I can cut hair with one tool. I don't have to use guards. There's so many different aspects to cutting hair. But what's most important is, and going back to the barber school thing is that, you know, teaching my students, I tell my students in the door, don't come here worried about being the best barber. Come here focused on being successful. What does that mean? We do mentorship through my non-for-profit mentorship, life skills, mental health, substance abuse, you know, what posture to have and maintain inside of the barbershops, and you know, uniformity. You know, like I was Judge Mathis barber for a whole year. I've cut NBA players, baseball, basketball players, and all this. And this came from just, you know, my posture. I don't care what you do in your personal life, but don't mix that in with your business, because a lot of people feel like, you know, I can do whatever I want to do, but you have to think about the fact that you want people to patronize you, like, you know, women, children, seniors, celebrities. Like celebrities, wherever I said I was, they would come to my shop. So and get a service done because they knew that I had them. They knew I was going to cover them. They knew I was going to protect them, and my atmosphere was conducive to professionalism. So basically, opening up a school, it was driven for me to do that because I felt like I wanted to help put the professionalism back in the industry. This is not a hustle. It's not a hustle. And if we want to be real about it, most of the people, and I say this very, very strongly, most of the people in this industry, I hate to say it like this, don't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of. You know why? Because they don't pay taxes properly. They don't have any retirement. They don't have any exit strategies. They don't have any 401ks. They don't have any insurance for if they were to pass. They don't have any insurance, medical, dental. They have none of those things in order. They don't have their own companies. It's almost like a rat race. And I'm guilty of having my shop. I'm guilty of making so much money until I changed when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. I was changing the rims on my Blazer like they were underwear. You know what I'm saying? I was, had 22 credit cards. I had all the alligator shoes. All of my clothes were custom made. You know what I'm saying? Because I was making just that much money. But then I'm on the phone whispering, making payment arrangements while I'm cutting hair to pay my light bill or to pay my gas bill so they won't cut the phone off, or the landlord coming in bringing me a 5-day notice. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't pay the rent, but I went and bought some new rims for my truck. So all of my ducks weren't lined up in a row. I feel like I was a great businessman, but I always say we have to be careful. We don't allow our gift to take us someplace that our character can't handle, right? So I thought I was ready at the time because I'm never late. I'm a great barber. I do what I'm supposed to do. I have discipline. I have structure. But from a spiritual aspect, God wasn't ready for me to have in my early 20s what he's given me and showing me now, because I might have got it and lost it and then been 50 years old right now and trying to get it back because I didn't know how to handle it at the time. And I really quite didn't understand that so well. But and I know I just kind of got a little bit ahead, but I wanted to open up a barber school because I really wanted to genuinely wholeheartedly be able to teach people how to properly have the right posture inside of shops. Everybody want to open up a barbershop. Everybody want to open up a school, but it's not what you think it is. If you don't love what you do, you literally have zero chance. I can't stand driving past barbershops, especially on Fridays and Saturdays. And you said you wanted to be a barbershop owner, but it's 10, 11 o'clock and your barbershop is not open yet. Or it's 10, 11 o'clock and the gates are up to your doors and up to your windows. How does that even make sense? But then you're the main one talking about I can't build any clientele, or it's slow. I didn't have slow periods, and I didn't have slow periods because I cut everybody, and I was able to align all of that sitting up, waiting on clients to come, waiting on people to come in to get a service done, book appointments, make people feel like they can come in, and get a service done at a certain time, so that way they can get in and out of there. Not somebody come in the barbershop and you saying, hey man, Larry, how many you got? Hey man, I got like 7 people before you. So they either decide, well, man, I can't wait to after those 7 people, so I'm gonna have to let somebody else cut my hair, and so on and so forth, right? So we really have to teach this new generation, man, how to properly have their posture. And a lot of people don't want you to tell them that, but I don't want to get too ahead of the game, man. I want to let you ask some more questions and see if I can answer some more to that.
So then you started opening up multiple schools. Now, can you kind of step people? Tell them about the successes, because I
Okay.
told them a lot of stuff, but kind of tell stories, because
Okay.
they need to know the successes. So let them know.
Okay, so basically, everything that I'm doing now came from cutting hair, right? So that's first and foremost. And I do have my master instructor license in over 22 states because I'm preparing for where it is I want to go. I have 8 schools right now. I just picked up another school, so I have cosmetology, barber, esthetician, and nail school. I'm the first person in our industry, in the haircare industry, that I closed a multi-million-dollar deal, and I'm literally building cosmetology school, barber school. I'm building it from the ground. So I'm the first person to ever do that. I'll have a barber and beauty supply in that location, a small barber and beauty supply in that location. And I'm opening up a credit union. So I have a credit union that I'm entering into the second phase of my credit union. And my purpose of opening up my credit union / own bank is because uh we really don't have financial institutions that believe in us, right? So when I was trying to close this major multi-million-dollar deal to build my new school, they kept throwing daggers at me. They kept throwing stuff at me left and right. We need this, we need that. Do you have this? Do you have that? And I told them, I said, hey man, I don't have any personal debt. I have my stuff in order. All of my things, I have like 4 accountants. All of my stuff is in order. I have almost 50 employees. I have HR department, I have chief of staff, like all of my things are in order. And they really just didn't believe it. So the traditional financial institutions, they don't believe it. And the reason I keep saying that they don't believe it is because us as people in the hair care industry, we really don't have the correct type of paper trail. Meaning that, you say if the millionaires and the billionaires are trying to opt out of paying taxes, then what makes me think that a barber or a stylist is going to tell Uncle Sam that I made $100,000 cash this year, and how much money do you want me to send you, right? Ain't nobody in their right mind going to do that. Which means that, but when it's time for you to obtain a house, a car, build a building to get your own school, so now you got to figure it out, and you end up having to cook the books, is what I call it, because of the fact that, okay, you made $100,000, but you really don't have the correct paper trail in order to show that you made $100,000. So my reason for opening up the credit union is for the music industry and for the hair care industry. So that way I can have products and I'll be able to go to, and it's a federal credit union. So that way I'll be able to service anybody in the United States. They can open up an account within my credit union. That way I can have products for our industry. So that way, when you want to have your own shop, when you want to, buy a house and buy a car, I can really help segue you into that to make sure you have your corporation stuff together, all your paperwork together, all of that stuff. And then I can say, no, you don't need to borrow $50,000. You only need $25,000 because I have experience in opening up a shop and buying equipment and so on and so forth. So my success is 8 schools. I'm the first person to ever open up a school inside, and the only person inside of Cook County Jail here in Chicago.
Tell us about that.
I've been there for 14 years now, right? So I do it totally complimentary. My reason for going in there is because having schools and shops in the hood, a lot of people think that people that are locked up in jail are bad people. And I really feel strongly that if you give somebody another opportunity, a second opportunity or a third opportunity, whatever, to do something different, no drug dealer wants to go to jail. No drug dealer wants to, be dead before God's time. No people that's carjacking, they're not thinking that they're gonna, get underlived or they're gonna get caught and go to jail and all of that kind of stuff, right? So if you give them something different to do, then I believe that, but you have to help make sure that their character aligns with that gift that you're giving them. So I went to the jail because I figured that if I can catch them in the jail, certify them while they're locked up, then when they get out of jail, then I can put them to work. And I can also, just make sure that they have another opportunity to do something different. And then now, considering the fact that I got shops in Walmart, people are like, well, why won't you open up no shop? Why won't you open up no shop? I can open up a shop in my sleep. I can open up a school in my sleep. You know what I'm saying? This is what I do. I mean, me and my team and my staff, like I do this stuff in my sleep, and I do know how to run every aspect of my business from A to Z. I'm not just a barber. I'm a true businessman. I know how to do all the paperwork. I know how to do financial aid. I know how to do the ISS for accreditation. I know how to do all of these things, but I've reached a point where I write the vision and I make it plain, but I have staff that I trust who can do the ISS, who I have a financial aid department. I have people in all of these areas to do the work so I can just keep going up, 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 and up, right? So I think having my shop in Walmart, like it's like end the game, right? Because now I have the schools, I'm in the jails, I'm in the juvenile center. So I'm in Illinois Department of Juvenile Justice as well with the juveniles. And I'm first and only accredited program inside of a juvenile facility like that. And I can put them to work when they get out in Walmart with me, you know what I'm saying? And then I have a front desk staff at Walmart. So ain't nobody paying no booth rent. Booth rent is for the birds, in my opinion, right? So, and y'all, please, I'm just giving y'all what my opinion is. I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world. It's just like guards. I don't use guards. Is it the worst thing in the world? No, but I have my reasoning as to why I prefer to use metal that don't waver versus plastic that squeeze and pop off, whatever. But that's a whole nother story. So basically, it's like I do commission. So all of my employees inside of Walmart, my barbers, they have to wear uniform. They get commission. They get direct deposit every week. They get a percentile. So I do it on a couple tiers. When they make a certain amount of money, then they get 80. They cap off at 80% of their money. Um, they have somebody to sweep for them. We have hot towel warmers. We have washer and dryer, shampoo bowls. They have to break their stuff down every day and set it back up the next day. They have hours that they got to be at work, and they make a lot of money. They make a lot of money. Some of them guys are taking home, a couple $1,000s a week. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I think that that's only the beginning of it. So it's really up to them if they want to take home more money to that. And then the way I'll be breaking it down to them, I'm like, look, man, I said, if I used to cut between 25 and 38 heads every day, when haircuts was only $20, right? I used to make a gang of money. But nowadays, let's just call it $50, tip included, $50 for a haircut. So if you cut 15 heads a day, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, you don't even got to start at 4 o'clock in the morning. You can go work from 9 to 5 and schedule appointments, 15 heads a day times 5. That's $3,750 a week times 4 weeks. That's $15,000 a month times 12 months. That's $180,000 a year. Ain't nowhere in the world you're not telling me that you're not living good off that, right? But our issue is that we don't see the money because we spend it as soon as we get it. When somebody come in there selling stuff, we buying it. We leave out, hey, I'll be right back. Go to work. When I would go to work early in the morning, I would go to work when it was still dark outside in the summertime, and I wouldn't walk back out the door until after the sun went down late at night. You know what I'm saying? Because I was dedicated and married to my industry. This is not a game. We make more money than some people who've been on their jobs for 30 and 40 years, right? So that's what I'm here to teach, man. And I feel like, anybody can do. I'm in 2040 already. So I don't have no problem teaching nobody else how to do what it is I'm doing, but you're not gonna do it like me. I don't sleep at night. My mind don't shut off. I'll help anybody that wants to be helped, man. But we have to do it collectively, as a unit. Ain't no hating on this person or hating on this person or this person. I can't cut everybody. I can't get every student. I can't do all of that. But somebody might do something different than the way I do it. But I just know that the way I think, like I bought shuttle buses and stuff, man, years ago. People thought I was crazy. I'm the first barber school to have student housing. People thought I was crazy. The banks didn't even want to give me money to do it, right? And then I used my own money to do the student housing. And then when the bank seen my numbers, they was like, wait a minute, hey, this came from housing? I said, I tried to tell y'all that, but y'all wouldn't give me no chance. So I had to make the sacrifice and do it on my own. So from all this, I have an automotive school of technology now. So I do automotive, diesel, aviation, welding, HVAC appliance repair school. I'm going to get a major contract. I know it's going to be pretty dope, but it's because of the fact of I never want to be in a position where opportunity comes and knock on the door and I'm not ready. You have to be ready. Get your license. People don't know that you can go to jail for not having your license. It's considered a misdemeanor, at least here in Illinois. If you don't have your barber or cosmetology license and you get caught up in the shop, depending on who come and catch you, they can lock you up for a misdemeanor for not having so get your license. And those of you all who are in school, stop ducking haircuts. Do services, right? Because you feel like, I don't want to cut free hair for this shop. Yeah, but be glad that people are letting you play in their head for the sake of your career, right? Because then when you get out there, then the games are over with. You want to charge $50, but you don't know how to cut hair that good. You don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so much more to it. I have my own hair care product line. I'm gonna have a shoe and clothing line. The reason I came with the shoe and clothing line, because I used to wear suits and ties all the time, like in high school, all while I was younger. When I was cutting hair, I used to wear a shirt and tie, but my feet would be hurting so bad because I had them alligator shoes on, man. So I wanted to come up with something dope that was comfortable but looked real good, and then that would have some type of uniformity. So then I also said that I'll put it in all of my students' kits. So that way, their financial aid will pay for their shoes. It'll be uniform. It'll pay for their shoes. It'll pay for their smocks, their capes and aprons and everything, match everything. And then I started my non-for-profit because of the fact that, like, I hate the whole back to school haircut thing, man, because I feel like people trying to abuse that. And that's one day out the year when I do free services every fourth Tuesday out the month at all of my locations, man. So we deal with the veterans, we deal with the senior citizens, we got the GI Bill for the veterans, and people think that we make it look easy, but it's not that easy. I've been in business for 31 years, and I just now start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel the last 9 to 10 years, right? And some people will say, well, how? That's because of the fact that I aspire to do, bigger things than just be in this one box, having one school. You know what I'm saying? I want to have schools all over the world. I know that I can do it, but I'm just making sure that I pace myself right now, because I never want to be in a position ever again where I got to call and ask somebody if I can borrow some money because I'm not running my businesses the way I need to be running my businesses. Right now, it probably costs me to operate all of my businesses on a monthly basis. It probably costs me well over $100,000 a month to run my businesses, payroll, bills, mortgage, everything. I have company credit cards, all of that stuff. And basically, I don't even deal with it. I let my HR department deal with it. I don't do payroll. I don't do any of those things. I make sure everything is aligned, and I make sure I don't allow any of my personal wants and needs to get in the way of me properly being able to run my businesses. Meaning that I don't, like, I get a salary like everybody else. Of course, I can pay myself what I want to pay myself, and I don't pay myself no lot of money because of the fact that I really don't have any personal bills, because I purposely, created a avenue where, I don't want to have to depend on any money from my businesses in order to pay my bills. So I get a check every week like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I don't go and I don't commingle the money. When I deal with my accountants deal with me, they know exactly where everything is. They got access to all of the bank accounts. They can see where everything is going. I don't have to get them no box of receipts. Everything is either done with a check. It's done through paychecks to payroll. Walmart, they go through Square system. They got the app on there that the guys can book appointments. So I mean, it's crazy. It's going crazy, man. And that's just some of it. I have my own record company, distribution. I'm a songwriter. I've traveled the world playing drums and keyboards. Man, I can go on and on, man. So kind of
You
like
were
a
at the Potter's
Renaissance
House
man.
too playing. Did you
Huh?
play at the Potter's House, Bishop Jakes?
Yeah, I played there. Yep, a few months back.
Tell them about the front row seats at all the Chicago Bulls games.
Okay, so yeah, so I have season tickets for Chicago Bulls. So basically, I sit literally right by the bench, and I know everybody. All the players. I mean, I know all of the waiters, the waitresses. I know head security. I know the security for the Bulls, security for the NBA. I used to be partners with Chicago Sky women's basketball team, so I used to be a partner with the Chicago Sky women's basketball team. And man, God just have shown me favor, but to whom much is given, much is required. And I always say that you have to go through in order to get to, but it's how you deal with what you go through that determines how you come out, right? So a lot of people don't want to do the work, and I'm not nobody's judge, man. I can't judge anybody. I can't talk about the life you live, but I can only speak for myself. So I'm that guy who I've never drank, I've never smoked, I've never used drugs. I've never did none of the above, man. You know what I'm saying? Even though I grew up in church and that was really kind of our posture. But when I became a grown man, these are things that I just decided to continue on because of the fact that I didn't want anything to interrupt my peace. Is it the worst thing in the world? No, but you have people who abuse it and it really mess up the direction in their lives, right? I'm 50 years old. I don't look like it. I still work out. I still play basketball, football, baseball. I play squash. I play racquetball. I do calisthenics, man. I can get out and give you 50 push-ups. I'm very active. I'm a man. It's just what I do, man. I try and eat healthy. I do all of this stuff, man, because of the fact that I feel like, it's when people sit in our chairs, we're everything to people, man. We're doctors to them. People don't understand, like, that red, white, and blue barber pole is important, man. We can be responsible for somebody's death sitting in our chair. We have to learn about blood pathogens. We have to learn about hair color. I was at my school yesterday in Aurora, and the cosmetologist was saying that, well, I don't think barbering and cosmetology is the same. I said, yeah, the only thing that separates us is the razor. That's it, right? The same thing that's in your book is in our book. It's just the degree of how you want to do hair versus how you want to cut hair, right? So when I broke everything down to them, I said, we have to do color too. We have to do relaxer, the patch test, the strand test. I said, did you know your 27 piece is basically the toupee we do? It's the man unit. It's just that we fade and cut the sides, and y'all don't know how to do that, right? And they was like, dag. I said, it ain't nothing but a toupee. That's it. So I just love to educate, man. I love to teach people. I love to educate. And I don't feel like there's no big eyes, no little U's. I don't walk if I want to sit in a certain seat, then I make sure I show up on time. If I want to park or somewhere special, I make sure that I show up on time and get there before time. I don't need nobody to do nothing special for me, man, because I'm Larry or whatever. I appreciate it, but I just believe in following the rules and regulations, man. And when I walk into a certain situation, I don't like if it's not mine, I don't walk in saying, yeah, but I'm Larry. No, man, that's not my place. Let me serve. I had to go somewhere today for this non-for-profit thing, and it wasn't my event. So I went there and I served. I was with the governor of of Illinois. And I went there to serve, man. A lot of people don't want to serve. Everybody want to get out of barber school and they want to open up their own barber shops, but go somewhere and serve first. Go see what it feels like to work for somebody so you can know the do's and the don'ts and all of that kind of stuff, man. So basically, I dealt with suicide before. That's why I wrote my books based on, what I'm saying, just kind of being depressed, man, because I didn't understand. I'm like, man, God, why is it taking me so long to get where it is I'm trying to go, right? But again, I really didn't understand at the time that had God given me all of these things when I was in my early 20s, I probably would have goofed it up, man. And what I do, it comes from a genuine place. I have no ill intent. I have no motives as to helping people. I can walk in my school, man. I mean, clothes, shoes. The week of Thanksgiving, I actually did an event where I rented out a whole hotel and I basically used my buses and went and picked up the homeless people. I went and picked up the migrants. I did all of that stuff, and I had a room. I had a room where they had toiletries, clothes, shoes, coats for the men, women, and children. I let them go in there and get their stuff first. I let them go in. Everybody get hot showers. They were so ecstatic. I'm like, man, we get to take a hot shower. You get a hot shower, man. And then after everybody used each room, I had housekeeping go in and clean up after each person to make sure. I believe in treating people how I want to be treated. So right. So I wouldn't want somebody to go in, even though they're homeless people, but I don't want you going in behind somebody else and you using a nasty bathroom. So I had housekeeping clean up every room after every person got done. So then before we went and picked up the next group of people, we would drop them off at the schools. I let them get free haircuts. I let them get their hair done, hair shampoo, the women and children, the men. And then I had nurse practitioners there where they got tests done, their vitals was done. I had an STD bus outside for them to get tested. Then I had a whole bunch of hot food catered at my dad's church. My dad is a pastor. He's actually retiring Sunday. I had food catered at my dad's church. And then unfortunately, I had to drop them back off at their homeless, their areas, but I kept doing it all day long, man, where I would drop off one group and then I go pick up another group, get them to the hotel, and then I would just kind of make it a big circle so it can work, and my students, man, they were ecstatic. I have some bilingual students, man, so they were able to help me, with the Spanish speaking and everything like that, man. So that's who I am. You know what I'm saying? I walk in my schools, man, with food, with donuts. When I walk in my schools, I make sure I speak to everybody. I give dap to everybody. I get the ladies a little church hug, you know what I'm saying? And I'm respectful of everybody. You treat people how you want to be treated. And I take care of all of my employees, man. You can't talk bad about me to my employees because they go tell you that you're crazy because I make sure that everybody is very well taken care of and not just me. So that's who I am. God is the head of my life. I love God more than anything. I believe that I don't care if you're Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, whatever, man, it's not about religion. It's about relationship. And I believe that if we keep God the head of our lives, man, I think that everything else will fall in place. But it may not be when we want it to be, but it'll definitely come, in his time, man. But we have to go through it. So yeah.
Now, tell them about the old school.
My old school, man. I had my old school for 15 years now. I've had my old school 66 Chevelle Malibu. And it's funny because I picked that car up because one of my students, I've given away so many transcripts and diplomas, man, till it'll blow your mind when I first opened because, my financial aid didn't start I didn't get financial aid for at least about, man, 5 years, almost 6 years, right? And a lot of people think that, they see me now, but they don't know the stuff that I had to go through, man, in order to get to the next level, getting accredited, making sure all the paperwork was together. Or, so you're definitely teaching them, right? Like making sure all of the paperwork was together. Then you have to do all these major audits. You got to pay all of this money that you don't have on top of the fact that, you don't have students who can properly pay their tuition, all that kind of stuff. So getting back to the old school, I had a student who he was like, man, I can't pay my tuition, man, but I got a car. If I give you this car I have and you give me $1,500 to go along with it, right? I'm like, bet. I do it, right? So I gave him $1,500 and got this old school car from him and switched the title over, man. And I had this car redone, and this car's worth a whole lot of money, but that's how I got my old school. Yep.
Now, tell them about the Rolls Royce, because see, that many beauty professionals have a Rolls Royce. Can you tell us, can you tell them about that?
So I'm the type of person, man, that, I've always had like when I was in high school, I was that guy who wore suits and ties every day, had the best smelling cologne on. I had all the Ferragamo shoes and Gucci shoes and the whole 9 yards when I was young because I made just that much money as a teenager, man, cutting hair. And then and my mom and my dad, my mom would take us, downtown and just, show us, like what it was, right? And she like, okay, if you want that Louis Vuitton wallet, I put it on my Neiman's charge, but you got to give me some money on it, right? So my parents really showed me the way. My dad is my hero, but nevertheless, I've always had nice cars. The day I graduated from high school, my dad bought me a brand new four-door Blaze, and people thought, "Oh man, you spoiled." Yeah, but y'all don't know, I paid the car note, and my dad knew I can afford to pay the $354.57 car note that I had when I was 18 years old. So I've driven, Range Rovers. I had a Mercedes at 21 years old. I had three Navigators. I had the Eddie Bauer Ford Explorer when it first came out. I had all of these cars, right? So I think that I think it was around 2000, 2006, maybe 2006 or 2007. Um, I was really going through it. I had just gotten divorced and I was going through it and I was going to get married again and I wanted a Range Rover, right? I wanted another Range Rover. The lease was up on my Navigator and I wanted a Range Rover. And I remember going to the Range Rover dealer and I said, "Hey man, how much is it gonna be for this Range Rover?" He was like, "Hey man, this Range Rover is gonna be like 80 some $1,000. You're gonna have to put down, like man, $10,000 and your car note is gonna be about $1,700 a month." And that was for a lease. I'm like, bet I'm gonna write it off. I can come up with the money. I can do it. But honestly, man, it was like robbing Peter to pay Paul. I knew, okay, the repo people won't come for 45 days, so I can just Western Union my car note, and then I can juggle that with the rent for the shop and all this kind of stuff, man. I didn't want to do that no more, man. So I had a 99 Ford Explorer that was sitting in front of my house that I paid for that was cash. I literally just have to unlock the door, open up the back door, reach in and unlock the front door in order to get in this car, right? And it was embarrassing to me. And I was like, I'm not driving that car, man. I'm Larry, man. I wanted that Range Rover. Man, God dealt with me. He said, "You need to drive that car that's sitting right in front of your house, man." And I buckled down. I might have parked a couple of blocks away for the first couple of weeks, man. And it wasn't nothing wrong with the truck. It's just that it seemed like I was going backwards. My pride wouldn't allow me to accept the fact that I basically did what I thought about my dad, man. My dad had restaurants and I seen my dad taking the license plates off his Lincoln Town car in the garage. I'm like, "Dad, what are you doing?" He said, "Man, I'm taking this car back." I say, "What does that mean? What you mean you taking this car back?" He said, "Man, I'm voluntarily repoing the car." And I really didn't understand what that meant, but he took the car back, right? He voluntarily took the car back. And my dad went and got a four-door Ford Escort. And my father was 6'2", when he got a four-door Ford Escort. And my father would try and pull up in front of my barbershop, and I would look, I know how to play my mirrors. And I would see my father trying to pull up in front of the barbershop, and I would literally run outside because I didn't want my friends seeing my dad that owned Larry's Ribs and me having his barbershop. I didn't want them to see my dad driving this four-door Ford Escort, man. But then I thought about my dad. That's the sacrifice he made, man, for the benefit of his family and for his businesses, man. So I'm like, cool, I'm doing that, right? So with that being said, man, I had even bought one of the vans I have right now, one of my white vans. I got my picture and stuff on there right now. But I was like, man, do I go and buy a car? Or because my G wagon had caught on fire. And I'm like, man, do I go and buy another car, or do I buy this van that I need for my company? Man, I bought a 10-passenger van. And when I tell you I'll be pulling up on Sunday mornings with my suit and tie on at church with this 10-passenger van, it was embarrassing, man. But I still kept looking at the bigger picture, man. And before you knew it, man, God positioned me. I went and bought me a Rolls Royce Wraith that I drive when I feel like it, probably once a week. It's wintertime, I very rarely drive it. You know what I'm saying? I'm on my fourth G Wagon. I ordered, I was the first one to order electric G Wagon here in Illinois. I ordered that like 2 years ago, so I should have the electric G-Wagon next year, man. But hey, man, I'm feel like, and a lot of people, they try and judge you or be jealous and envious, man, but it upsets me because it's like, you don't know what I went through. You don't know the stuff, you don't know the sacrifices I made. You don't know the stuff I went through to be able to get to this point that I'm in right now, right? So I've been a good steward, man. And if you are faithful over little and few, man, God will make you ruler over
And
so much more, man. So basically, man, that's where I am right now, man. And I really want to help people to be able to get to the next level. That's why I go so hard on in this industry and what it is I do.
now, do you have brothers and sisters, Larry?
I have a sister. My sister's 3 years younger than me. Yeah. So my sister's 47. My sister actually worked in my company for 15 years, and she actually go around now. She don't work for my company anymore. She's a business owner herself, but she goes around with the accreditation, like for NACCAS. So she go around, getting the schools approved, stuff that NACCAS go around and do for
Mhm.
us or whatever. And I just got my renewal. I just got full renewal for all of my schools a few weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago? I think it's 6 years now, but I just got full renewal, so I won't have to renew again for another 6 years, a little bit more than 5 years. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram. Now, can I share the screen and go to your Instagram so you can kind of show some people, show
absolutely.
everybody?
Yeah, no problem.
So I'm gonna share this screen.
I have 8. Somebody asked how many schools I have again. I have 8 schools and counting.
Okay, so make sure y'all follow Larry, his Instagram, Larry Roberts _Jr.
And
Now,
as you can see that
just tell me where
graduation
to
right
click,
here.
Larry.
You can click the graduation if you want.
So talk about
So
fellas.
so I believe in, like, you have a lot of people who've never walked the stage, especially my guys who were locked up in jail. So I had my graduation at the Tinley Park Convention Center. This was the very last one. This was the biggest one that I've had. It just gets bigger and bigger every year. And those are my students who just graduated. I think that was about a couple months ago or something like that. Maybe a couple months ago. And there was over 1,000 people in the audience. I played drums. We had a speaker from a judge from the jail that was a speaker, man. So that's one of my graduating class and some staff and stuff mixed in there or whatever. So we had a great time. Caps and gowns. They walked the stage. They got class pictures and everything. Yeah.
Okay, you just tell me. Okay, this is where you got the.
Yeah, that's my accreditation. So I just got accreditation from NACCAS, and that's for another 6 years. And what people don't know is that you have to be accredited and you have to pay all of this money in order to be able to even get financial aid. And I've had financial aid now for about 20 years. I've had financial aid. And a lot of people think you just get financial aid and that's it, that's all. But no, man, when you get financial aid, you literally you have to do an audit every year, and an audit is like $18,000. You have to do an audit every year, and if you don't pass your audit, you can take the chance and losing financial aid. So you don't just get financial aid and then the rest is history. It don't even go like that. Yeah, you clicked it on my swimming. I'm showing people, man, that it ain't nothing that I can do. I'm kind of all American up in this joint. And then people was like, you're not swimming. I mean, you're not backstroking. I say I ain't want to mess my hair up. Didn't y'all see me say that in the thread? So that's Pastor Hannah. He has one of the biggest mega churches. I've been cutting his hair for almost 30 years. I've been playing the drums at his church for 18 years, and he's only had a church for 19 years. So I've been cutting his hair for a long time. So uh, yeah, that's Zach Levine. It's at the Bulls game. I got my doctorate, so that's when I was receiving my doctorate award. So I do have my doctorate, and my doctorate is in arts, and it's in business. Oh, they called me on the screen. That's my daughter. They called me on the screen at the Bulls game. Yeah. Oh, they go my old school right there. Yeah, baby. I love that car, man. Real nice.
You got a lot of clothes and shoes, Larry.
Man, I do. And I take care of my stuff too.
You can tell me where to
Uh,
stop. I'm just scrolling.
I mean, oh yeah. I mean, so if you want to
Okay.
go to where I just closed the deal, yeah, that's when I closed my multi-million dollar deal. So I am building school from the ground. Just gotta make sure the weather, and that's how the school's gonna look right there. My credit union be there as well. And then I'm incorporating inside of my school, I have them building a garage area where people will be able to bring their barber chairs and their hair dryers and styling chairs and all of their clippers and get all their stuff fixed there at the school. And then for my students who need to make extra money, I'll let that be their jobs throughout the day. So that's my nephew. So both my nephews play drums professionally. So that's my oldest nephew, Clemens. He's 29, and that's him playing for Khalid at Soldier Field. Then my youngest nephew played drums for LMA, and my daughter's a celebrity certified chef as well.
Hmm. Now, I
Yeah.
remember you had this wreck. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, man. So I actually was on the expressway, and this Mustang, man, came by and sideswiped me, and like kept going. And I mean, before you know it, it's like my car lifted up in the air, and when my car lifted up in the air, it literally turned around and started going the opposite way in traffic. And then if I would have been another foot or two over, then I would have went up under the truck and probably been decapitated, man, or just been crushed to death. And God allowed the back tire of I was in the fast lane and I ended up in the slow lane, and the back tire of the truck, instead of me going under the truck grabbed the front of my car and brought it back the other way, going the right way in traffic. And I was able to pull off to the side, man. And my car got totaled, and I didn't have a scratch. Neither did my stepson. We didn't have a scratch. I didn't have a sore bone in my body. No, nothing, man. The airbag came out, and I'm looking like what happened? You know what I'm saying? But one
Hmm.
of the things that this made me understand is that how some people deal with like just the trauma of things that happen in their life. This is one of them things, because whenever I'm on the expressway, like when trucks come by sometimes, man, I kind of feel a little anxiety because of the fact that it's like, man, I literally could have been up under the truck. So needless to say, man, I'll never ever buy another Corvette for Chicago ever again. If I ever get a Corvette, it'll have to be at a summer home like in Florida or LA somewhere where I'm not driving with no no trucks around, because that car too low, man. I literally could have drove right up under that truck, man, and it wasn't even my fault. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I'm glad to be alive, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's see. You can tell us to stop anywhere.
Oh yeah. I mean, you good. You can stop. That's fine.
No,
I
I'm
don't know if
talking
you had any
about
more questions. Oh, okay.
on the
Um,
pictures.
you want to see me throwing that football? You want to see
Yeah.
my athleticism?
Yep.
Look at that. Look at that arm on me. You see that arm on me? You see that arm? 50 years old, baby. 50, baby. Yeah, man. We grew up having to play every sport, man. So I mean, we get up in the morning, man, playing basketball in the alley, everything, man. So and clients, that's the mayor of Chicago right there. Yeah, that's
Here.
the mayor of Chicago. Yeah, that's the mayor of Chicago. Yeah, Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Oh.
Um, what people don't understand, man, is that like to your like you build clientele, man, off of like your swag. Like it makes a difference, like smelling good and keeping your nails and stuff done, man, and having fresh gear and stuff like that on, man. It really makes a difference, because people want to be, and they like to be around excellence, you know what I'm saying? So people
Mhm.
always ask me, well, man, how do you build clientele? A lot of people don't want to do free services, but do some free services, man. If you do some free services, and you feel like, hey, because that's a client is for a lifetime, you know what I'm saying? Like I have people, I've cut deceased people. That's Minister Farrakhan. I've cut deceased people. We the first hairstylist. We the first person you see in this world, and we the last person you see, right? Because we have to do your service for you. You know what I'm saying? So man, people, they just don't get it. People that's at the jail, people don't be wanting to cut free services, man. But it's like, if you do a good job, if you sit in if they sit in your chair and they don't come back, then it's your fault that they didn't come back. Otherwise, if they sit in your chair, you have an opportunity to gain them as a permanent client, because then you end up cutting they kids when they have kids, and they kids, or they mothers, and it's just, man, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
See that? See that haircut right there? Look at the haircut on Pastor Hannah right there. See that one?
this
Yep.
one,
Yep. One pair of clippers. No comb, no nothing. One pair of clippers and a brush, but I had to cut it down because his hair was falling out. So that's why I look a little weird. But yeah, just one pair of clippers, man. People think that you need a million pair of clippers to get the work done, but you don't. And he really don't let me, he don't like to cut his hair. Then the guy, you see like in the deficiencies in the dye, one of the guys who dyes hair, you know, how people don't properly like proportion the dye and stuff like that out, man. And I believe in a haircut looking the same from the top all the way down to the bottom. So yeah.
it looks
Yep.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, okay, and then the book. Tell us about the book.
Yeah, that's my book. So basically out of the ashes I rise. Like I said, I dealt with suicide, man. Just one of my stories, man. I got molested as a baby. Um, being between the ages of 2 and 5 years old. I really didn't understand. I really didn't understand what transpired with me when I was younger and how it affected me until I got older. And I would be angry, and I mean, I was throwing clippers at people, I was fighting a lot, you know what I'm saying? I did have that issue, and I womanized, you know what I'm saying? And not really knowing where that came from. And I went to therapy, man, like what's going on? What's going on? And they just really helped me kind of remind. It ain't like I ever, I didn't forget about it, but it wasn't anything that I felt like I needed to remember. But when they brought it back to my remembrance and they had me go back to my childhood to see like what was possibly bothering me, that was one of the things that was angering me, and I really had to release that thing. So once I did that, and a lot of people think that it's for black people, like, man, I ain't going to no therapist, I ain't crazy. Going to a therapy don't mean that you're crazy. It means going to professionals so they can help you through whatever transition in life that you're going through, man. So that's how I wrote my book, Out of the Ashes I Rise, and just pretty much told my life story, man, like big time. You know what I'm saying? And you'll believe it'll blow your mind of people who have went through the same things. Like I went to churches out of town, LA, Noel Jones Church, Freddie Haynes Church in Texas, and I got up over the pulpit, man, and talked about it and talked about my book and all that kind of stuff, man. And the people that was 50, 60 years old coming up to me saying, man, they never told nobody until I told my testimony, but the same thing happened to them and all of that kind of stuff, man. And a lot of times, I may not understand, like I don't have no heaven or hell to put nobody in, man. So whatever lifestyle you choose to live and how you choose to live your life, that's on you. But what I did understand from this ordeal that I went through is that, we look at some people and the way they live their lives, whether they're homosexual or whatever the case may be. And in a lot of cases, you don't know their story. You don't know what they went through. And all I feel like is that, I could have possibly went the same route, but I mean, I had strong father figures. I had, uncles and men in my life, man, and people to just make sure that I was the young man I needed to be, and I stayed the path I need to stay on, not really understanding how that really could have affected me. You know what I'm saying? So it helped me to be more mindful about, when we look at people, man, but we don't we see them, but we don't know their story. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it was definitely an experience, man, and I'll tell it everywhere I go, and I'm not ashamed of it because of the fact that you can't help what somebody do to you as a baby. You know what I'm saying? So it's part of the mark on where I am in my life right now.
Um, you done shared a lot, and uh, I'm glad you shared all of this, Larry, because when people view you like a celebrity, or like Michael Jordan or somebody, every time if you Larry's Barber, Larry, they look at you as right way up here, but you shared a lot and been very transparent about where you come from, how much you overcame to get where you at.
Well,
And
hopefully it helped somebody today, man. I mean, if anybody have any questions, I mean, if you want to
yeah,
let somebody
you
ask
got
some
time
questions.
for some questions?
Yeah, I can answer a few questions. That's